William in the suit.
Hey man, this is a very important show. This is an event that I don't think there's any way that it can't go down in show choir history at this point. It's going to go down one way or another. And so for an event of this caliber, I think
Yeah,
it demands some prestige and some professionalism.
I can't wait for our award show at the end of at the end of this season because we're gonna be styling. We're gonna be styling. We're gonna pull out all
Yeah,
the stops.
absolutely.
We
So
about to do that.
so you heard it here first. We're gonna, I guess, have an award show at the end of the year. So we've already got a question from the chat. Uh, Circle City Show Choir, who you may or may not see on later in the show, no comment,
Maybe.
says, "Are you going to be wearing a suit on Saturday? Khakis and a Hawaiian, more awesome stylistic choice for me." Well, folks, most of you are probably here to hear us talk about the actual choirs on stage at the Wheaton Warrenville South Choral Classic,
Maybe.
and not about what we're going to be wearing. So
I
so we're going to do that.
mean, hey, if you cared right now, I am wearing Wheaton colors. I got my Illinois shirt on. I got my Chicago hat. So I'm in too. But enough about the outfits. You're right. You're right.
Yep. Enough about the outfits. So this is it, folks. We had a pretty good handle on this lineup. WWS stands for Wheaton Warrenville South, which is in the chat. My goodness,
Ooh, Choral
that is
Classic.
incredible. Did not know this was going to be happening. Phenomenal to have the competition itself in the chat. If there's a face behind the competition that wants to be on camera, send a request to join the live, and we will very happily have whoever is in the live on right now. So WWS stands for Wheaton Warrenville South. This is the Choral Classic. This event is taking place in the western, maybe slightly southwestern, far suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. I am William. To my top is Ethan. This is not Show Choir Nation, the
Nope.
premier podcast of the Homeroom Show Choir Nation. This is just Homeroom Show Choir Live. And so we're going to have a couple guests on later in the episode. We're going to get our first one on here in about 10 minutes or so. But before that, Ethan, just for everybody who is in the chat here at the start, let's just have a rundown of the just absolutely massive lineup that this event entails. We've got over 30 choirs competing over 2 days. So in the middle school division, on Friday night, we've got El Paso Gridley, Crescendo, Mantino Grand Paws, Roadshow Dynamics, Fort Atkinson, 4th Street Singers, Mount Zion Sound System, El Paso Gridley Dynamics, and St. Michael's Shine. We don't really talk a ton about middle schools here. Ethan, you are the one who's probably more in tune, although there is one Wisconsin group here. I haven't seen them yet this year. So, Ethan, what is the read on the middle school division, real quick?
First off, who doesn't love middle school? I swear, every competition I've been to so far this year, I've only watched middle school. So it feels like I'm at the most now. I do have two siblings in the Mount Zion Junior High, so I get an opportunity to go watch all their fantastic shows and see how far show choir middle school has come because it's come a long way when I was in it, a long way. Like some of these props and sets that they use nowadays are insane. They're basically prep groups now. And I remember a few years back, Fairfield Middle School made finals like all the time in Ohio. If yeah,
They were
and
fourth somewhere. They beat
yeah,
all the other groups except Fairfield somewhere. I can't remember where, but
which
yeah.
was crazy. But on this competition, just looking at it, I think it's gonna be really competitive. I think Wheaton has one of the maybe the most competitive junior high comp in Illinois. Besides maybe Glenwood, I feel like Glenwood one year had like 16 choirs or something crazy, and it included like Clinton's junior high group or something like that, which was super cool to see. Um, Here, like you said, I don't know much about Fort Atkinson Middle School. I don't know much about them, but if I'm just looking at it right now, I think it's a. I also don't know much about St. Michael's Parish because they usually don't travel down south that often.
No, that is an Illinois school.
I know,
Or
yeah,
are you saying just south from where they
yeah,
are? Okay.
south where they are,
All
or
right.
I haven't at least seen them yet this year. I've
Okay.
seen them. I usually see them at Danville or something, but that was canceled this season. Um, but yeah, just looking at it for the junior highs, I think it's going to be a two-dog race. I think it's Mount Zion and El Paso Gridley Dynamics, which they just competed against each other, and both had really good shows. Mount Zion came out with choreography. Um, yeah, I believe just choreography. I don't think they gave out a band. And then El Paso came out with vocals. El Paso can sing their butts off, and their choreography is pretty good too. But Mount Zion, I think they use more feet. They are more in tune with their choreography, and plus their show is super cool. If you have a chance to see it, we are at Wheaton. Their set is amazing. I think they do a great job. And like spoiler, but they do a Mario show, and I will just say the set, like the backdrop, the props are out of this world. It's maybe I don't know. I've seen some really good junior high sets, but uh, yeah, it's maybe one of my most favorite junior high sets I've ever seen. Um, I don't really want to give a prediction because I have a dog in this fight, but I do think the top two are going to be El Paso Gridley Dynamics and Mount Zion Sound System.
Awesome. Well, that's your read on the middle school division. We will move on to the high school groups now, and I'll spend the next 3 minutes just simply reading off everybody.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, so Ethan's going to take a water break. And so for the people who are not chronically online, I'll give a quick read off of all the groups performing at 7:30 a.m. Schedule times, not actual times. At 7:30 a.m., we've got Pleasant Hill Powerhouse, which is their men's group, followed by Waubonsie Valley Resonance, Broken Arrow Tiger Momentum. I believe that's a mixed group competing in the single gender division, but it is what it is, I guess. El Paso Gridley High Fidelity, Mount Zion, You've Got Mail, Pleasant Hill, Hilltop Harmony, Los Alamitos Soundtracks, Zionsville Corollaires, Center Grove Debtones, Mount Zion La Femme, and Broken Arrow Tiger Mystique. That is the before lunch lineup. That runs from 7:30 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. Then they graciously allow us a 1-hour lunch break. So thank you to our overlords at Warrenville South for allowing us out of the gym for lunch break. They're going to just basically lock us in afterwards, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Tiger Momentum is a women's group this year. We have a comment in the chat.
Nice.
Interesting. So I guess that provides some clarification as to why they're in that division. Kicking off the mixed division after lunch. And already one comment, by the 1-hour lunch break. It'll probably be a 30-minute lunch break.
It'll be really fast.
There'll at least be a little bit.
Fast
At 1:15, we have the Watseka Sensations, followed by Lincoln Southwest Ambiance. That's their prep group. Twin Lakes Soundwave, Pleasant Hill Hill Sound. That's their freshman group. Waubonsie Valley Soundcheck, El Paso Gridley Modulations, Pleasant Hill Hillside Singers, Lincoln Southwest Resonance, Broken Arrow Tiger Rhythm, Zionsville Royal Airs, Los Alamitos Sound Effects, Mount Zion Swing Stations, Center Grove Sound System, and Mitchell Friend Deku. Mitchell goes at 7 on schedule. On schedule, Mitchell goes at 7. And then we've got a host performance from the Wheaton Warrenville South Classics at 7:25 on schedule. On schedule, not saying it's going to happen in real life. And then we've got prelim awards tentatively scheduled for 7:50. Now, the crazier part here is when we roll into the finals schedule. And let me pull this finals schedule up here real quick. See, when we've got 5 pages of comments on the showchoir.com, this is a challenge to figure out where the post with all the schedules are. Anyways, finals are going to begin, I guess, at 8 p.m. with prelim awards. And then we have got... Sorry, we don't have a show sheet for this one. Anyways, I forget exactly what time finals begin. But we've got 3 single-gender finalists, and we've got 4 mixed finalists. And I will say, we'll talk about this with our Indiana folks that are come on here in a little bit. Ethan, I have never been to a competition that has had a single gender finals. I can't remember the last time I've seen a competition in Illinois run this format.
Never.
What does this mean?
I don't know. This is something new. This is something I haven't seen ever. The only gender or single gender finals I've ever been to, unless I ran into one in Indiana, was HOA Orlando. And that was 2018 when that competition was the biggest thing on the planet. Single gender finals in Illinois is so unheard of, but I mean that kind of fits what this competition is. We have no idea what's going to happen. This is the biggest competition of the year. maybe second to nationals coming up. I don't think it's second, but if it is, it would be second to nationals. I mean, like you said, the single gender lineup is insane, and like I completely forgot, but just for my mental sake, I'm kind of sidetracking. Who won between Debtones and Zeinzor? Have they not gone up
They
against
haven't
each
seen
other?
each other this
So
year.
what, like, what are, how are we supposed to do this? I guess we'll let our Indiana guys talk about
Yeah,
that.
we'll get to the predictions later on. We're not gonna play
Yeah,
our cards this early.
but I'm just like you said, the lunch hour break is. I know it's supposed to be an hour, but who knows what it's going to be. I'm telling you, if I had the option, and if I had to, I would be sitting in that gym from whenever I guess I oh my gosh, from 7:30 to I don't know whenever prelims got over 7 supposedly.
8, yeah.
Yeah, that's like 12 hours or something. I
You're
don't know.
you're going on a hunger strike.
Oh, I would. I would. I'd be sitting there in the bleachers. You gotta save your spots, and
Yep.
that's
Pro
one.
tip for anybody coming, with all due respect, if the MC says no saving spots, this is too big, and far be it from us to promote bad show choir stewardship.
Yeah,
But
Choral
you
Classic.
have
If
to
you're
have a
listening,
friend
sorry.
who will man spread 2 spots in the bleachers for you.
Yeah, and
Because
yeah,
yeah, this is just going to be one of those days.
and I'll tell you right now, if we just want to dive into the competition layout of it, from what I remember, there's like I don't know, 20 rows of seats in front of the stage, and remind you, it's in a gym, and then it's all bleachers. It's pretty wide, but it's not. It's just a normal high school gym. So this place might be wall to wall from
Before lunch.
before lunch. I don't know if you'll get a spot. I know they have a overflow auditorium. I don't know if that would be the same case that they do for a live stream. Somehow, in case you don't get in, but I mean, the vibes here are going to be woof, insane.
I do know that in past years they have actually barred performers from other groups from going in the gym. You had to have like a paying wristband to get in,
Yeah,
and there's no way that's not the case this year. I think maybe wall to wall before lunch is a little bit optimistic, but when you've got Los Al soundtracks at 10:10, Zville Corollaires at 10:35, Debs at 11, La Femme at 11:35, and then or 11:25 and then Tiger Mystique at 11:50. Those 5 groups, and not even counting anybody before that, you put those 5 groups on stage as the headliners for a competition, and you fill a gym.
yeah,
And the fact that they're all going before lunch is simply incredible. It is the 15, so I think we're going to have a couple guests coming on. So if they could request to join the stream, hopefully we'll get that going here. We'll get people with a little bit of regional expertise in a couple of these groups. Ethan is the resident Illinois expert, and we'll get around to the slew of Illinois groups here in a little bit. We have our first guest on the show. We got Nathan Ensley, proprietor of Circle City Show Choir. Nathan, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing very well. I'm resting a lot in preparation to be in that room for 12, 16, 20, whatever hours. It'll be wild.
We also have the president himself, Will Kaiser, joining the chat live from a undisclosed location for security reasons. Will, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to some awesome show choir this weekend.
Phenomenal. Well, this is packed. This is the most number of people on Instagram Live will support is 4. So we got a full house already 15 minutes into the episode. Oh boy, where do we begin? We begin, I think, with the Center Grove Debtones and Center Grove sound system. Nathan, you are a Center Grove alum. What's the read on sound system and Debs? I think start perhaps with Debs because they perform earlier in the day. What's the read on them, and then move on to sound system.
So Debtones, they are coming in. They have, I believe, 2 wins this year, and then they also have a second place against Fisher Sound, which they've been unreal in this scene before. So it's very difficult to compare Debs to Sound. Sound is basically competing with the mixed groups all the time, and Debtones is only like a two to 3 steps behind them. They're still an incredible group, amazing vocals, very good choreography. They have a lot of beautiful pictures once again with their Eve show. I think, yeah, that's pretty big. They're blocking, lots of good smoke, special effects, always incredible soloists. The seniors are doing an incredible job this year with those solos. I think overall, Debtones are going to be very tough to beat, especially when you're thinking about their main competition here, LaSalle Soundtracks. I would say is not the premier kind of treble single gender groups. I would say your premier groups are like Tupelo and Fishers, and then Center Grove is also in that group. So it's going to be tough to beat the Debtones, I think. We'll get to predictions later, but I'm very confident in what I've seen from them.
Awesome. Yes, I am going to toss it to Will, because Will, you have also seen the Debtones show this year, right?
Yeah, I was able to attend CG Best of Midwest, and I will say an interesting thing. I know kind of Ethan alluded to it, but there are no real. I've never attended a competition with a only singular final. It has always been a split final between the two. So we don't really have a placement. But me and Nathan made the joke the other week that if Fisher Sound competed, we would have to get rid of mixed rankings altogether, because we just have sound smack dab in the middle, competing, making our lives even harder. I think Debs is going to be really tough to beat. They come out with extremely strong vocals from the beginning. They look extremely strong in their choreo, kind of in the middle, and they're going to close it out really well. They are more of a classic CG group. They're going to do a little bit. Sound system, we're going to talk a little bit about later, has sort of found this new thing that really got them over the hump to beat Carmel this season. And Debs has really stuck to the CG style, which works perfectly for them throughout the week. So it's going to be great to watch them. I'm going to say they're going to be a great competitor to beat, but we have not really seen what Soundtracks is able to do against an indie group. Obviously, me and Nathan consider Sound to be the best in the country, and Debs has competed with them. I would venture to say Debs has already faced some of their toughest competition. This won't be their hardest they'll face all year. I don't know about Nathan what you would think about that, but I would say that this won't be their toughest competition of the year, which is crazy to say. That was probably where they faced at FC, but I mean, they are going to have a run for their money. Whoever shows up is still going to have a great
Yeah,
night.
I would say their toughest competition was probably at FC, and then also Oak Mountain, the Muses will give them a run for their money at Nationals.
Yeah, Nationals is a one and done compared to this, which is a finals opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We're going to kind of go in the same thing about CG Sound System. Sound System has been a group that has captured a lot of national headlines this year. Big wins against several Indianapolis groups. I'll let you guys spill the details. Nathan, you first.
Well, yeah, obviously when you beat Carmel, you're going to make national headlines. Just snapping that streak, they've been dominant for so long. They went undefeated with their show last year, the Carmel Ambassadors, of course. So for CG Sound System to come in after losing the past two Franklin Central competitions to Carmel and take that back once and for all, that was monumental. I think especially being at the event, hearing them winning show design as well as best choreography was a little difficult. We know that CG is the better vocal group typically, but Carmel has upped their vocals, and somehow Center Grove still outperforming that, and we think it's like a really big part was their finals performance, which might bode very well for Wheaton Warrenville South. If they can show just that level of increased performance, increased energy, increased intensity in the finals, it's going to be tough for them to beat, because I've heard LaSalle usually steps it up in finals as well whenever they have a finals for a nationals event, and this group of Center Grove will also be doing the same.
Will, do you agree, or do you have a different take on Sound System?
Oh, I absolutely agree. The old joke is Nathan and I are on the same page 98.9% of the time, and the other 1% is the fun period at the end of a show choir competition when we don't know what's going to happen. So really, the big difference I would say this year versus past CG years is just passion in their final show. It was what I thought got them over the hump at finals. It's what I was like when we were watching finals, because I was watching from a different location. I was watching a live stream. Nathan was in person, and immediately following Carmel, I said, I don't know if, or I said CG. I'm like, that is going to be tough to beat because they came out with more energy than I've seen them come out with for a long time. And then we saw Carmel win, and we went, well, I don't know if there's anything that could beat that. And we were both like, it's going to be split captions. It all comes down to which way it goes. And CG just had the better run that night, which what tells me a lot is there's a big difference between groups that are amazing, but go out there and perform the same groups and groups that can come in and win a competition in a closing, like a situation where your director's telling you in that meeting, you got to go out there and win. You're down on points and you got to go out there and make a difference. And CG showed they really have that ability. I would say anyone who's looking to do the indie head-to-head this year, good luck. Everyone's beaten each other at something. All of the top four have faced each other and have taken one caption or something. We're to the point where there are about four, where each one has like, there's a best vocals caption that's been taken off. Carmel has beat 3 groups in best vocals and beaten everyone at once. CG's beaten everyone and then taken best vocals off Carmel. So then best choreography, but then North Central took best choreography off Carmel, and it's all been flipped around so much that we just know that we're looking at night to night with those top 4. And so far, what we've seen is CG has had the best run on a last run of the night, and to go out there and win a competition. And that is something you can't buy in a group. That's something your group brings to the competition.
Have either of you seen a Zionsville set live this year?
Yes.
What's the read on, I guess we'll start with the Zionsville Royal Airs.
It is a little unfair because I saw them very first go Plainfield prelims, and I've heard they've changed a whole bunch up since then. But I think this is probably the most fun Zion. Well, they always bring some element of fun in every single show that they bring. Zionsville Royal Airs. I think they add a little bit more narrative elements this year with the elderly couple opening. That's all I'll say. It's very fun. You should be looking forward to that at Wheaton if you get to see that. They just go really full into character. They have beautiful vocals, as everyone does from Indiana. It's going to be tough to beat any Indiana group singing-wise. I think their choreography is pretty good. I would say it's not nearly as clean as Center Grove, but they've been working on it. And I've heard they even have another practice before Wheaton. So they're definitely going to come out strong. They're undefeated. This is like the furthest along that they've been undefeated in a season since like the last 10 years. And I think I think they'll give Center Grove, LaSalle, Mitchell, all of the other top groups some pretty serious competition.
And then for the girls group, the Choral Airs, did you see that show at Plainfield as well? And if so, what do you think of it?
Yes. So with the Choral Airs, they're typically one of the upper groups in Indiana. I think a big part of the Choral Airs is that they come out or they finish off strong. So sometimes maybe in Indiana they don't do nearly as well, but once they get to that national competition, they've cemented their show. And they do incredibly well, usually at nationals. I think they've won their last 2 nationals events, and we've kind of been noticing the same trend this season. We thought they weren't the strongest at the beginning at Plainfield, but they've kind of progressed. This past week, they won the treble division and beat several mixed groups at South Dearborn. You don't normally get the mix or like the overall finals in Indiana, which is weird for you guys. We get that's different for us, and it was cool to see Choral Airs basically improving it. I think a big part is that they've found a lot of great vocal sound, a lot more intensity, probably from seeing the other amazing treble single gender groups in Indiana. They've gotten a lot of that intensity over the past few weeks.
Yeah, phenomenal. Will, any thoughts to add about Zionsville?
So Zionsville is an interesting one. I've actually gotten to spend some time talking with some people that have been in that choir that have worked, and it's a great program. They go in, they work extremely hard. They have some interesting structural. They have a lot of leadership in their choir, which is some very interesting, and it tends to work sort of in interesting ways. And they are able to go a week in, week out, and win. And you can't say anything about them, but like, or Royal Airs has 3 wins under their belt. That's really great. The only thing is Nathan and I don't have a ton of ability to really say, hey, this group really compares, because they just haven't competed against the upper 4 competition that we really want to see. Zionsville does that. That's very common. They tend to compete once or twice against Carmel, CG, NC. They do it once or twice a year and then face national groups, which is fair. I have competed in the indie circuit exclusively, and I'll tell you, it's a pain in the butt sometimes. Sometimes you walk into a comp and you're like, come on, that's just not fair. That shouldn't be allowed. But I would say Royal Airs have a great opportunity this weekend. Choral Airs, I will say I think they had a rough start. I really loved what they were doing. Their choreography, I actually scored them very well at Plainfield, and kind of on a couple of rewatches. I think their set is really fun. The one thing I will say is, if you do not like what their set is, like if you don't like their set is based around one person's music, and if you do not enjoy that music, you're gonna lose focus on their set. And that's something I will say about this judging panel. I've had some of these judges in the past. They like what they like, and what they don't like, they're gonna kind of murk. I've had Mike Weaver before. I've had him before where I've seen where he has hit shows hard because he just didn't like something, and he's not afraid to hit the scales. And same with, I imagine, these other judges. These are SCA. These are old school judges. They're going to come out and they're going to hit you hard if they don't like what you're doing. And that's not a hit on the groups. It's a subjective sport, or it's a subjective art, but it just is what it is.
Well, I think we have to kick you off since you just said that show choir is a sport.
Yeah.
But on the
My bad.
we are saving that for the depths of July or August.
Yeah.
So come back in
Yeah.
about 6 months when we finally solve the age-old question: is show choir a sport? But I think that you do bring up a very interesting point, which is that we've got judges who I think are opinionated. And I will actually argue on the flip side of that. I will argue that you need opinionated judges at a competition like this, because if you're going to have a judging panel who's just going to sit and watch every show and say, wow, that was amazing, that was amazing, that was amazing. I mean, I've seen 14 group divisions before where a judge had 11 groups within 5 points. And that simply cannot happen at a competition like this. And so I will argue that it is good that we have some of those opinionated judges. Ethan, do you have anything you want to add in the conversation?
Oh yeah, something I think about is like this whole competition. There's so many unknowns, but to get a regional matchup that hasn't happened this season, and both groups have to be undefeated, 3 wins under their belt, that's just unbelievable to me. That's good. It adds a whole new level to it. Like oh, where are they gonna place at this competition? But it's like also like, how are they gonna do against each other? They haven't gone against each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, I definitely sets the tone for what happened in Indy this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know how much is left in Indianapolis besides this, because I know Center Grove's going to nationals. I don't really know if this is it for Royal Airs.
This is it for them. We do have a small head-to-head. I mean, you do need to go. They faced Brownsburg early in the season. Now, Brownsburg is a group on the rise. They are currently our 6th ranked, and they had best vocals. They split captions with them, and Brownsburg has sort of faced Fishers and Plainfield, and they've been fighting in that group where they split captions with each other. So I would say a really good comparison to them is going to be around the 5-4 mark. North Central has really moved to be fighting with Carmel, CG, and FC, and all those groups are ridiculous. And so like that big 3, the power 5, we talk about it in such interesting terms. Zionsville, really, if they can come out this weekend, they can put a number on LoSal. If they can show CG something, like, it will make our lives infinitely harder, but it will be something that'll be really interesting to look at going into our rankings next week. And I for one, would really welcome the opportunity to really have 5 of the truly best groups in the country in Indy at any given time. And with that, even saying that flip side of that next 5 on our rankings are still phenomenal.
Awesome. Well, we are just about out of time with you guys. So I'll go to Nathan first, and then Will. We've got 4 mixed finalists and 3 single gender finalists. What are your predictions?
Okay, so for the finalists, I think you'll have LoSal and CG. They'll be battling it out. Don't really want to make a prediction for that. I could see split captions between those two. I would say probably Zionsville will take your 3rd spot in mixed, And then I was kind of hoping we'd have more regional contributors on for like the Midwest groups, but I guess picking one out of like Mitchell, Mount Zion, Lincoln Southwest. I love Mount Zion, but I think I'll just pick a wild card here and go with Lincoln Southwest for fourth for mixed is the last finalist. And then for Univoice, single gender, Center Grove, of course, will make finals. LaSalle will make finals. That third spot will be incredibly close. You have LaFemme, you have you got male also from Mount Zion, two incredible single gender groups. And then you also have Zionsville, of course. And I'll just lean Zionsville. I think they usually step it up at the Nationals events. I think they'll just narrowly squeak out for that finals position.
Fantastic. Will, we know you talk a lot. Just give us all your groups for finals, and then give us a little bit of explanation.
All right, I'll go fast. I'm going to say Swing Station is going to take your 4. Royal Airs is going to take your 3, and then you're going to take a 4 or 2 split between Sound System and Swing Station. Sound Effects. Sound Effects is going to, I believe, take choreo. Sound System is going to take vocals. And I believe in what Sound System's doing, and I see them at a finals. I think it's possible they're down going to finals, but I think Sound System's going to pull it out. And then for single clef, I'm going to go Debs, LaFemme, Soundtrack, and Choral Airs. And as much as I'm pulling, I'm really hoping that You Got Mail gets in to that finals. I know I just really want them to. I loved watching them at Nationals, and they were my favorite thing ever. And I'm going to give it to Debs to go in with a sweep.
All right. Phenomenal. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Nathan, you will be at the Choral Classic, so I look forward to.
So excited to see you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And Will, you are still in an undisclosed location for national security reasons. So thank you guys for coming on the show tonight, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you so much.
See you guys.
See you.
All right, so those were our regional contributors, Nathan Ensley and Will Kaiser from Indiana. Ethan, that was everything we could ever know about those two Indiana groups, but it's time to talk about some other ones. We're going to get to our home state Illinois groups in a little bit, because that's where you're from, and hopefully we'll have somebody on to talk about them as well. But I'm just going to look through this varsity division here and then kind of filter through the single gender division in kind of alongside that as well. We've got Twin Lakes Soundwave from Indiana, which I guess is an Indiana group, but that is a far northeastern or northwestern Indiana group, and that is a group that is generally regarded as small mixed in Indiana, so I think it would be a very outside shot for them to make finals here. We have got the Pleasant Hill Hillside Singers from Missouri. Pleasant Hill, Ethan, I'd love your thoughts on this too. I think Pleasant Hill's in a very interesting situation. This is year number 1 post Karen Dollins, which is the director that made them an absolute dynasty. Heather Martin is now the new director at Pleasant Hill. They only have one finish better than 4th this year. So I think if we were talking about Pleasant Hill a year ago, maybe it's an outside shot for Pleasant Hill to make finals. They had a trio of second place finishes. And then to get to Pleasant Hill's last win, you do actually have to go back to Harrisonville 2022. So I think Hillside Singers, I think it would be a very outside shot for them to make finals as well. Their freshman group Hillsound is also competing earlier in the mixed division. And then they've got their men's group Powerhouse leading off the single gender division at the sunshiny time of 7:30 a.m. and their girls group Hilltop Harmony at 9:35. I believe this is the group with the highest number of choirs here. They've got 4 choirs here. And what are your thoughts on Pleasant Hill?
Well, there's got to be doubles. If you have 4 choirs, there's got to be doubles. So that's going to be a long day. Very long day for Pleasant Hill. But that's what they signed up for, and that's what they're ready for. They came to one of the top competitions in the freaking world. They're going to try to put on shows. And first off, it's Powerhouse, right, for the men's group. Mm-hmm. I have not seen Powerhouse yet. There's so little men's choirs around me in the Midwest that there's kind of like specks on a board. They're all over the place. But so I'm super excited to see them. For the varsity group, Hillside Seniors, I know their placements this year were kind of up and down a little bit in that circuit in Missouri. But I mean, this group clearly knows how to close. They won Best Closer last week, so that only means the end of their show has to be good. They won it over Blue Valley, who swept the whole competition besides Best Opener and Best Closer. So that has to be they close well. And that's gonna be something the judges are gonna be looking for. In this competition in a hot gym when it's packed wall to wall, it's gonna be like who can finish their show, who can finish singing, and who brings the energy. And I believe if Hillside or Pleasant Hillside can make a run for those final four spots, even though they're looking outside of it, if they just bring the energy, crazier things have happened. And trust me, I know you're talking about energy because my whole choir was just energy. Watch 2018 Swings, you would understand.
Absolutely. So our next out-of-state group, just going down the varsity performance times here, is Lincoln Southwest Resonance. Lincoln Southwest is a group that pretty much had the month of January on lockdown. Not every circuit starts in January, we get that, but Lincoln Southwest, I mean, you come straight out of the gate, and while Gretna was rescheduled to a Monday, they still took home a vocals and choreo win at Gretna. You come out the next weekend at UNL and you beat Wheaton Warrenville South, who's hosting this competition. You come out the next weekend at Lincoln East and you sweep full vocals choreo band there. And that was all in January. Aubrey Falter, who I believe is the main character in their show, went 3 for 3 on Best Soloist Awards.
She might be a nomination for end of the year.
Absolutely.
Keep your eyes out.
No competitions until Norris on February 24th. They came out third on the end of a very tight battle with Lincoln East, Ankeny Centennial, and Papillion La Vista South. If you were talking about Lincoln Southwest before Norris, you're like, oh man, like they're maybe looking like a pretty sporty number 2, number 3 pick. Third place at Norris is one competition, right? I think we have to look at this holistically over the course of the season. Resonance is a group that, while they didn't match up with Gretna at all this year, I would put them right with Gretna, kind of sort of at the top, and with Lincoln East as well within the state of Nebraska. Number one, what do you think of Lincoln Southwest's show this year? Number two, where do you think they sit as they look for bid for finals?
Man, it's so tough. You see groups when they go on runs and they have that little snag in the road right before a big competition. It's so hard to judge where they're at. But I'm telling you right now, they're going to bring it. They've had 2 weeks to prepare for this, I believe, or I don't know. I'm not good at math. Around 2 weeks to prepare for this or something like that. And after getting snagged, you know that whole time they've just been playing to get better and better and better over that course of those 2 weeks or whatever it is. And they lost to good groups. It's not like they lost to scrubs, to BH. They lost to really good groups. Lincoln East has been on a tear race recently, and Ankeny Centennial has always been a gigantic choir. So to be like, oh, but they got third. Oh, they're not in a great, what do you call it, region. Yeah, they are. They've gone up against some great groups, and they've shown they're battle tested. And if you want to be a group at this competition and want to get a top 4 spot, like you said, you have to be battle tested. If you're not battle tested, it's so hard to come into an environment like this. And your first performance, you're so, you're uppity, if that makes any sense. You're jumpy. You're kind of like the whole show just flies by. But if you're able to sit in that pocket and you're battle tested and you know what's to come, they got a really good shot making finals here. I feel like they're right on that borderline. I feel like there's like 5 other groups there with them, but they're battle tested and they've proven that they can win competitions, even though they placed third at Norris, which was against 2 very good choirs that they lost to.
Yep. Also worth noting that Lincoln Southwest Ambiance, which is their mixed prep group, will be performing pretty early in the after lunch mixed division. They're scheduled to go on at 1:40, while Resonance is scheduled to go on at 4:20. It is 8:40, so I think we may or may not have a guest lined up. I don't know if they're in the live right now. So if you were scheduled to come on at 8:40 and you're in the chat, please send Ethan a request to join. Otherwise, we're going to move right along to our next out-of-state varsity group, and that is Broken Arrow Tiger Rhythm. Broken Arrow is a super interesting group, in my opinion. In my opinion, Broken Arrow is the true wild card of this competition, because if you look at their competition, this record, you got 2 first places with best vocals and best choreography. That has come in Missouri, and that has come in Texas, and with no discredit to the Missouri and Texas scenes, Broken Arrow is a group that is simply the class of those scenes right now. I think you can match Broken Arrow up with pretty much anybody besides Troy Buchanan across the states of Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas, and they come out on top. The last time they ventured out of that little 3-state region was January 7th, 2023 at Ankeny Centennial, when they were in 4th place. And granted, that was the very beginning of 2023. The groups that Broken Arrow lost to that day were Linn-Mar, Waukee Northwest, and Cedar Rapids Kennedy. They beat Waconia. So that is definitely right in the mix of things. Broken Arrow coming in with 2 wins this year. They will most definitely pick up a 3rd at Jenks in April. This is the one test for them this season. I guess the question arises, number one, how do you even fit a group in like this that is just so far outside of everybody else? And number two, do you think that not having competed against, not even in the ballpark of any of these choirs besides maybe Pleasant Hill, do you think that provides a challenge for that program?
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to push themselves. I mean, it's kind of hard to contradict what I just said because I just said you have to be battle tested, and they just haven't been battle tested. I think they won against Webb City. That might be I forgot who's the top choir that they beat in Texas, but I know they beat Webb City, and the Webb City girls got 3rd. But they just haven't been battle tested, so this is a really tough play. Like, it's really hard to place them in the top 4 when there's so many unknowns. I will say that they competed at this competition in 2018, and I'm looking now. They did receive 8th, and so they're
That
2 spots out of making
that's a totally
finals.
different Broken Arrow than the Broken Arrow now, though.
Oh, completely. I mean, yeah, that's a decade ago by now. But I'm just saying, their director, I forgot his name. I believe his name's
Justin
Justin.
Ross.
But thank you, Justin Rossery. He has experience at this competition. He knows what to expect. He's been on the other side of it before, where he's been like, "Well, we didn't make finals here," so he knows how to handle this type of situation. Bringing a group up north, I believe they went to Burbank a few years ago too, as well. So they know how to travel. Um, it's just so hard to place them in your top 4 when they haven't gone up against that many groups. But I mean, I wish I've seen a video, but I'm waiting until if I'm there to watch all the groups because no spoilers ever, because it would be way better to watch them all live. But I'm super, super interested in how Broken Arrow comes out because, like I said, it's just an unknown, and we have our
Absolutely.
yeah.
And the thing that I want to point out here is that you say that they're not battle tested, and I would agree with that to a certain extent. But the flip side of it is I can't hold that against them in any way, shape, or form because I think it's totally unrealistic to ask a group from Oklahoma to consistently go to Nebraska, to consistently
True,
go to Iowa, to consistently go to Mississippi,
true.
right? Like, it's just not feasible. Even if you have the money, it simply just takes a toll on everybody. And so while I would agree with your statement that perhaps they have a resume that is a little less impressive than certain groups at this competition, I don't think that's their fault at all. Moving on to our next out-of-state group, that is the Los Alamitos Sound Effects. Oh boy. When we first saw the tentative lineup, when people first started scrounging on choir websites, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, it's like Los Al is going to be here. And usually you see Los Al pop up at Show Choir Nationals. They're at Warrenville South this year. I think there may have been some district policy changes that may have contributed to that. I'm not 100% sure on the specifics of the situation, so I can't say anything more about that. But I personally, for you and I mean, it's a great treat that they're
Yes.
here, not at now. And it is, we're not Wheaton Warrenville South haters. Ethan, do you have any requests for people trying to get in the stream?
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Yes, I do. But
Well, why don't we bring whoever's in the queue, bring them on from Wheaton Warrenville South. And I'll talk about Los Alamitos for a little bit longer. Even up until, I think, 4 days ago, Los Alamitos was the group that a lot of people said, hey, this is like the hands-on favorite to win this group. And maybe that changed a little bit when Center Grove beat Carmel. But Los Al, for a long time, was the favorite at this competition. We'll talk about the sentiment shift in a little bit. But first, we want to welcome on our 2 groups. We've got Owen Miller and Ella Gosain here. Owen, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm coming to you live from Wheaton Warrenville South too, actually.
I could tell, yeah.
South, so
Ella,
yeah,
how are you doing?
a special case here. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Ready for some good show choir.
Awesome. So, Ethan, I think as kind of the more nationally focused guy, you're the one who runs a National Show Choir podcast. The events of the past week, Los Al losing 2 captions to John Burroughs, Center Grove seeming like they're on top of the Indiana scene. One last note on Los Al. Do you think they are still the presumptive favorite?
Yes. I don't think you can count on Los out. Even though they lost to John Burroughs, you just can't count them out. Um, yeah, I think regardless they're going to be top 2, but we'll get to that later. Um, I think it's them versus the environment and the travel. One thing I wish I saw was Burbank in 2020 at this competition before it got canceled to COVID, because that would kind of give me a little, even though completely different groups, it'd give you a little taste of what California is like traveling to Illinois, because I don't think there's been another instance of that. So it would have been super cool to see that, but we're finally getting it this weekend. Then performing in a packed gym, I cannot wait. It's gonna be something that no one's ever experienced before. So super excited for it for all their groups. I think all their groups are amazing. The only thing I wish is I wish they brought their men's group because that would just be more exciting. So
Yeah, we've got 2 men's choirs right now. I think that if Los Al would have brought theirs and brought a third, I think you'd have a very compelling case to split off into a
oh
men's.
yeah.
Regardless, we're going to hit pause on going over groups right now, and we're just going to take a little bit of a look into what goes into an event of this magnitude. So we've got 2 current Wheaton Warrenville South students here right now. So I guess, first of all, what roles are you guys going to take on during the competition?
Yeah, so this weekend I'll be hosting Mitchell Friende on Saturday, and on Friday I'll be hosting our middle school group because I'm one of their high school helpers. So that's my job this weekend.
And Ella, what are you doing?
On Saturday, I'm hosting Broken Arrow Tiger Momentum. Tiger Rhythm, no. And then I'm the MC host as well. I'm not MCing, I'm hosting the MC.
Y'all
Oh,
y'all got
nice.
an MC host?
We have we have a whole lineup of them.
Dog,
I couldn't
that's
imagine.
crazy.
Got
I've never ever heard of a competition hosting their MCs before.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So I guess tonight is Wednesday night. We are T minus roughly I think 45 hours until the first middle school group, which is El Paso Gridley Junior High School Crescendo, hits the stage at 6:05 for competition. I know we got a home exhibition before that. So roughly 2 days out. If you were a Wheaton Warrenville South kid not in show choir, would you know that this event is happening this weekend?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think it's advertised like pretty much everywhere around the school, and it's like something you're not gonna be able to miss because like during the school day they're setting things up. Like it's all like this is the biggest event we Warrenville South hosts every single year. So I'm pretty sure it's like very well known.
Yeah, and we have a special like exhibition show for our for like the students on Friday during 8th period, and it's super awesome and people get to skip class, so everyone's excited.
Hey, there we go. And so I guess uh, if you're involved in a program that hosts a competition, you generally know what goes into the setup, and that's generally pretty routine across the board. But setting up for an event like this, more on the mental side, everyone gets their physical workout helping set up the risers or the chairs in the gym or whatever. Have you guys been told? Obviously everyone gets told to expect a long day, but due to the sheer volume of groups, the sheer caliber of groups, the expected spectator turnout, I mean, have you guys had to do any sort of mental preparation for this competition?
Well, I mean, one of our directors told us, he said, at least the latest you get to be at school or the earliest you could be at school is 5:30. So I guess that's not terrible. He was obviously he was joking, but like so it's going to be from 5:30, and obviously this weekend I don't know if a lot of people know this, but this is the time change weekend, so this is where the clocks spring ahead. So midnight finals will actually be at 1 in the morning. So it's going to be very late night. All of our directors have told us about it. Ella and I have lived it twice already, so we kind of know what it's like. But I think some of these freshmen and some of these underclassmen are kind of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. But I think right now, none of like the preparation has really started. We haven't really set up the stage. Once we set up the stage, I feel like that's when it's going to be like, oh wow, we're in for the long haul here.
Now, you guys talk about it being a late night, and we all see the public schedule. We all see the final awards are scheduled for 12:15 a.m. Behind the scenes, wink, wink. What's the going estimate around students in Classics and Esprit as to what time this competition will end?
I honestly think that our group should start placing bets on when we think this thing's gonna end because
Over under, yeah.
yeah.
That's illegal. That's illegal for minors. Don't do it. We do not condone
Yeah,
gambling.
you can't bet. You can't bet.
I don't even know. Like, I think a lot of us are expecting to get out of here at like 3 or 4. So,
Ella,
I mean, it's realistic.
yeah. Does that about line up with what you think?
Yeah, I know, because one of like my groups that I'm hosting's girls groups is like arriving at like 5:30 in the morning, and me and my friends have placed bets on finals awards being like 1:30ish, even if we run off schedule, but which we haven't in past years. So we're hoping to keep really strict to the schedule this year, but we're expecting like at least 3-4 a.m. with cleanup and everything.
Yeah, well, and as much as I love the fact that you guys are very committed to staying on schedule, and I think Ethan can testify to this too. You've got Center Grove with a massive setup. You've got Mount Zion with a massive setup. You've got Los Al with a massive setup. You've got Zionsville with a good setup. And you know, once you start stacking those groups cumulatively, it just becomes super hard to stay on a strict schedule. Ethan, I'll let you ask a question after this one. I got one more that I want to ask. Let's just talk about your guys' groups for a moment, because the exhibition groups, while they're not placing, they are just as much part of this competition as anybody else. How have your guys' seasons been going?
as far as Classics goes, I think this has been one of my favorite seasons I've had. This is my senior year. Obviously, it's going to be tough to beat that 2022 season where we went undefeated. That was a pretty fun year, but this one's pretty close. We went against some very very good groups, especially last weekend, having to go against Carmel and North Central. Unfortunately, we were on the losing end of that one, but those groups are just amazing groups, and I was just like jaw dropped watching those groups. It was awesome to watch them. And then competing against Urbandale and Bloomington Kennedy, like it was great experience going against these really tough groups and sort of proving ourselves that we can compete with some of the best groups in the country. It kind of took us a while to get to that point after that loss to Waconia, the second competition we had. But like I said, this has just been one of my favorite seasons I've had. So.
Yeah, like on the Esprit end, I think we had a really great season, though we lost our streak to Carmel and North Central, but they're amazing and there's nothing you can do about it. But we were 3 for 3 for finals when we could, and I was really proud of what we did. And yeah, make sure to catch the exhibition shows. You'll see Mr. Owen Miller himself as the director in fetal position on the ground.
Yeah, and that Classics show, I believe, is that's the one at the end of prelim awards, right?
Yeah, we go right at the yes.
I'm sadly going to have to miss that show, which is a cry and shame.
I mean,
I got a concert for one of my top 5 favorite bands is in Chicago that night, so I will be making a very brief exit from the competition, and I probably won't be let back in. They'll probably be sold out by that point in time.
Well, by
Ethan,
4
what
o'clock,
questions?
you can come back by 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah, well, the opener goes on at 8, so I'm thinking I'll get out of there probably about 11, which should give me about 4 or 5 groups and finals left.
Yeah. So a question I have: how's Chris doing right now? Is he panting? Is he making phone calls?
You
is he
can
running
talk to
the
him
house?
right here.
What's going on?
Guys.
How are you?
Hey,
How are you?
I'm working on stuff for Choral Classic right now. That's why Owen's here and I'm still here. I live here at Wheaton, Warrenville South.
So, like, what's the preparation like right now? Like, going into it, are you taking so many phone calls with sponsors and
Yeah.
you're on board, I assume, and
Yeah,
all that stuff? Like,
there's a lot of phone calls coming in. There's a lot of texts, a lot of emails. I got to say we've got such a great team of people. Our amazing students like Ella and Owen, and their amazing parents, and then of course our great facilities people that we have here too. It's just so cool that that the whole Wheaton Warrenville South community comes together to make sure that we can have a successful event. And there's just so many things that we've been doing since about November to make sure that we're ready for, our biggest choral classic that we've ever had since I've been here. And I've been talking to group directors anyway, as we've been out competing, and everybody's really, really excited about it. I've been talking with the judges, and they know it's going to be a long process, but they're also really excited, that every single group is just going to be great and prepared and bring in their best, and it's gonna be one right after another after another after another after another. So it's been stressful, yes, but we are just so excited to host this event. Like, I can't even tell you how excited we are. It's
Well,
an
I think,
honor
yeah,
to bring all the
I
people here. It's like it's an honor.
The drive is worth it every time too. Every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be worth it. We're going to do our absolute best to make sure that everybody wants to be in the gym can be in the gym. We do have, that little thing like fire safety that you have to be careful of.
Always.
But other than that, we're gonna try our best to make sure that people who came to see will get a chance to see all these spectacular groups. From 7:30 a.m. till the posted close time of 12:30. We'd love to be able to stay right along those lines. I think it's fun that you guys have little bets going right now about how late it's actually going to go. And I got to tell you, my dad crew that is working the backstage, that's just fueling their fire.
Oh
They're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, they don't think we can do it. Well, we're going to do it, And so they're to say that we're excited is an understatement. We're just going to have, I hope that everybody, as crazy of a competition as it's going to be, I hope that everybody understands that it's also a celebration of incredible student achievement. The things that you guys are able to do as show choir kids are just insane. And to be able to celebrate that with a whole bunch, like the most ever people that are going to come together that do the same thing as you guys do, it's going to be legendary. I can't believe I'm on this homeroom show choir. Is this a podcast or what is this? Is this a
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
am I on Instagram? What?
Yeah,
Where am I?
Instagram
What am I on?
right now. Yeah.
Okay.
this
You're
is
live right now.
Instagram. It'll probably wind up on Spotify as a podcast later tonight.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, we're so excited that the homeroom show choir crew is as excited about our contest as you guys are, and the buzz continues to grow. And I gotta say that my heart skipped a little beat when you said we're a little over 45 hours away. I'm like, oh. But hey, thanks for having me on. Thanks for putting up with my son too, and hopefully I will. He and I and the rest of the Wheaton Warrenville South people will be well rested next week after a few days of decompressing, and we can kind of talk about this afterwards. So
Yeah.
thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for talking
much
with
for
us.
coming on. We really appreciate it.
I guess that was awesome. Thank you, Owen,
Yeah.
for that.
We're at an
The
hour
second
right
question.
now, and,
Yeah,
and we're
I know.
We're just gonna keep rolling through.
We're just gonna keep rolling.
We're gonna talk about this for as long as it takes.
What time does Wheaton Esprit go? Wheaton South. I can't believe I said Wheaton straight up. That's crazy.
I think we're like 11-ish.
Yeah. Right before lunch.
I think
Okay.
we're the last single gender group before. Yeah, I think we're the last single gender group in that order.
Well, for those that don't know, Esprit is can't miss stuff. Definitely one of my favorite female choirs I've ever watched. I know I'm biased there in my own state, but anytime I can see them, I will. You guys had a fantastic year. Same with the classics. Way to represent Illinois well, and of course, thank you guys for putting on a competition in my state, so it's easy for me to go to this magnitude. So
Yeah. Also easy for me to go to. It's only about a 3-hour, 15-minute drive for me. So absolutely, a very convenient location. right on the way from O'Hare too. So I don't know if I'm gonna have people riding in my trunk on the way to the competition. I think I'm picking up 5 or 6 people from the airport, but just don't tell the state patrol that. It's time for us to touch on our in-state groups, and we have a lot of them.
Forgot
So
we
we're
were
going to start off.
doing that.
Watseka is a group that while they're a great small mixed group, I don't expect them to factor into finals at all. The first really big Illinois heavy hitter group to perform in the varsity mixed division is Waubonsie Valley Soundcheck at 255. Have you guys seen a Waubonsie Valley show? And what is the read on Soundcheck this year?
Ella and I both got to see their show in like the early stage of their show. They performed 1 or 2 songs at a little clinic we did in January. But that was like the last time. That was the last time I saw them. I haven't seen a video or anything. But I will say that you can never count Waubonsie out of a Wheaton Rural South competition, as they have won 8 out of the 15 total Choral Classics there have been. So
Great stat, Owen.
That is fantastic. Ella, what do you think of Soundcheck this year?
I know Soundcheck's theme is like ice cream like not factory, but like ice cream shop. And their costumes are super cute. It's all about like the flavors and toppings you can put on ice cream, but so it should be a good show.
Awesome. Then we've got the El Paso Gridley Modulations. This is a group that absolutely exploded in 2022. El Paso and Gridley, I guess, small towns on Interstate 39, kind of in the north central portion of Illinois. They came back to earth a little bit in 2023, and they are right back up to the moon in 2024. I am embarrassed to say that I had the chance to watch Modulations in the state of Wisconsin, and I did not go to that competition earlier this year, but I will get to see them here. So I guess to the 3 of you, who's seen a Modulations show and how was it?
I've seen a video. I haven't seen them live, not since we went to their competition in 2022. Obviously, their group's changed since then. But I got to see their show on a video, and they can sing, man, and they move really well. Heath Guimar does their stuff. They are so clean, and I just enjoyed watching their show, like from start to finish. Like, it was just a super fun show to watch. And they came out on top over Wheaton North a couple of weeks ago, which was a crazy thing to see. That was just, I mean, their show is just awesome from what I saw in the video, and I'm sure, and that was from a few weeks ago, I'm sure they built a lot on top of that.
Yeah, Ethan or Ella, have you guys seen a
Yeah,
video or in live?
yeah. So I saw them last week at Glenwood, and they put on a great show. And it was tightly contested between them and Mount Zion. Mount Zion ended up coming up on top, but again, it was really close, I think. I was kind of surprised Mount Zion came away with the vocals there, because El Paso, like you said, has amazing vocals. I think that's what's been driving this run. Um, but again, like at Mantino, they didn't win best vocals, but they won with choreography and best male soloist. They're a dog in this fight. They might be a smaller school, but they're a dog in this fight. I think John Schaefer has done an amazing job with that program throughout the years, constantly growing. And then when you add Heath Guimar in the mix, I mean, that's a good recipe right there. And clearly it's paying off. So I think El Paso Modulations have a great chance to make finals here. And of course, it's tough for every
Mm-hmm.
group. But as the rising group in Illinois right now, they're the stuff. They're the stuff, and they're going to put up a good fight.
Awesome. Ethan, I want to touch base with you on one more thing. We've got El Paso Gridley High Fidelity, which is 4 for 5 this season. Their one loss has come to Mount Zion Lefem last weekend at Chatham Glenwood. Have you seen Hi-Fi? And if so, how is their show?
So I missed Hi-Fi. And I was kind of upset about it. But I mean, they traveled out of state and they've done very well. And with everyone traveling in your state, which is basically, this is an out-of-state comp. What are we talking about? If you're going up against competition like this, they have experience. They're battle tested. I keep saying it over and over and over. I mean, they've gone up against groups, and when you're in a mamble jamble like this, you don't know what's going to happen. 3 finalists. I mean, you can place your bets on the top 3, but you never really can count anyone out.
Absolutely. The craziest stat is that Hi-Fi's 4 division wins this year have come in 4 different states.
Yeah.
Won the women's division at Des Moines Christian to kick off the season, Sauk Prairie in January, Smith Cotton to kick off February, and then Mantino finally getting in Illinois in the middle of February. Looking down the line, our next Illinois mixed group to go following El Paso Gridley. So El Paso Gridley is at 3:30. you got to get all the way down then to the last Illinois varsity group to perform, and that is the Mount Zion Swing Stations at 6:10. We got a Swings alum in the house. I think we'll kick it to him first, and then Owen and Ella, you guys can share your thoughts after that. Ethan, thoughts, feelings, lay it all out.
I want to hear their thoughts
Oh,
first, if you don't mind. I want to
okay.
hear what WWS kids have been thinking from the outside. I know you guys have maybe a few buddies in the group, and I just want to hear what you guys think before I go on a rant or something.
Yeah, so I have a ton of friends in swings. I met all of them at Choral Camps America, and I've been down to Mount Zion a few times to hang out with those guys. Like, I love all those people in that group. They're amazing people, and they're gonna dance the crap out of that arena, out of the gym. Like, they're gonna come into that and dance just as good as everyone else at this competition, and I think that could be a big thing that could potentially get them into finals, is just how clean they are. And I know this might be a hot take, but I think Dwight might still give his best stuff to Mount Zion. Obviously, I think he gives us good stuff. He gives Carmel good stuff. But I think he gives his most difficult, just the hardest stuff to Mount Zion, and they do it very, very well. I haven't got to see their show in person. I've seen a couple of videos. They seem amazing this year. I know, Ethan, you've seen them live, but I'm really excited to see them live. Those are a bunch of my friends. So, yeah.
I just want to cut in here real quick and say that there's no such thing as bad Dwight Jordan stuff.
I agree.
I'm just a small town
Never.
show choir kid from Wisconsin. I've seen one Dwight Jordan show live in my life, and that was a group that he did along with Ellie and Jeff for 1
Milton,
year
right?
in 2020,
Yeah.
and then they all left that program. So I'm so excited to see more Dwight stuff. Ella, what do you think about Mount Zion this year?
I know, at least for swings, we were super excited when they got for their first GC of the season. Glenwood was obviously a really great show, and you can never count swings out of finals. They're not the underdog, but maybe they're not the first pick for those top two spots, but they're pretty awesome, and they can sing, they can dance. It's the whole package.
Ethan, you can't avoid it any longer. You got to talk about him.
I don't. I have so much to say and not enough time to say it. I don't so much to say that I don't know what to say. I think Swings has a fantastic show. It has grown so much from, oh my gosh, their Invitational, since Mount Zion Invitational, when they first performed. I think their vocals are starting to come around. I feel like the guy sound might still be a little tweak under the girls, because I think they have really strong girls this season. Fantastic show, though. The set itself is out of this world. I think I don't not seen any of these shows, so I don't know what their sets look like. But backdrop wise, woof. It literally takes, like, I swore it took like 20 minutes at Cinder Grove to put up. So that's on your that's on the dads. That's on the dads. That's on you guys.
They'll get it done.
They'll get it done. I know they will. But fantastic set. I feel like they've grown so much this season. I mean, we'll get to the predictions later. I could go so in on this. I feel like that because their show might be completely different from everyone else's, that they'll get a spot. Mount Zion's kind of known for just being completely different from everyone else when they go to a national competition, because nobody moves like them. Vocally, they have never always like been consistent, like really good. But I think after this win over El Paso, a really good vocal group, that they're slowly coming around and finally getting to that final form. They have two competitions after this, Hersher, I believe, which they're going back up north, which that's kind of funny. And I think they're going East Coast. I think it's Waltham. Yeah. So yeah, they have three competitions left, and this is right in the middle of their schedule. It's just insane to think about. I'm so proud of them for how far they've come, and I think if they get a placement here, that I don't know what I'll do. You know what? I'll say this right now. If there's any Swings kids in the chat, if you see this next show choir nation, if you guys make finals, I'll wear something. I'll do something. A little challenge. You guys make it up. You DM me. Let me know.
That's a slippery
I know all of you.
slope.
Slippery slope. I don't know. Maybe it'll be nice to me, wear a Swing sweatshirt or something. I don't know, but I'll do something. I don't know. I'm home for break for that show, so I can do whatever I want. I don't know. You want me to sing something? I don't know. I'm not a really good singer, but shave the head. Sorry, Josie, that's never gonna happen.
See, that's what I mean. Never underestimate a show choir kid's ability to prank someone else.
We'll talk about it. But yeah, I think Mount Zion, along with those other few groups, I feel like they're right there. They're right there on that cusp, and just that line. People say it's a thin line. This line is like whoa, and you put like 6 groups in there.
Yeah.
And Mount Zion just happens to be one of them. And those last 3-4 spots are going to be a battle. But I think that they're going to put on a hell of a show. Part of my words, I think they're going to put on a crazy good show. You might need to put an E next to this podcast now. So I'm sorry, that's on me. Or I don't know if you edit this or not, but so
I'll check the button.
I will say that like their stuff I already said is completely different, but their umbrella number, I don't think anyone's gonna have an umbrella number. And I don't think anyone's gonna have an umbrella like it. I don't know if Wheaton will allow them to shut the lights off completely for that number, a little tad bit.
We can let that
there.
be a secret up until comp day.
We'll let it get there, but I'm excited for everyone to see this show for the first time because I think they've come a long way. And if their sound is there like it was last weekend, I might have to put them in the top 4. That's into my rant, and I'm not shaving my head. We'll talk about something else though. We'll talk about something else.
And okay, well, we'll talk about La Femme and You've Got Mail then, because we've got 2 single gender groups from Mount Zion as well. La Femme coming in on top of the single gender division at Glenwood last weekend. They also made finals and were 6th place. That's their second finals appearance of the season. That single gender division at Glenwood, ironically, all 4 of those groups competing here. The results of those division: La Femme, 1st place, Best Vocals and Best Choreo; Hi-Fi 2nd, You've Got Mail 3rd, and then Waubonsie Valley Resonance in 4th place. Is it time that we start talking about La Femme as a potential single-gender finals group? I'll toss that to Ella and Owen first.
Ella, you're more experienced than the single gender.
La Femme's theme, I think it's Barbie this year. Oh my gosh, they're set. It's like a 2-tier like dream house. Their costumes are bright pink. It is amazing. I think that they can sing, they can dance. They are like they are definitely a good candidate for finals, and I would not be surprised if they slid right in there. How they'll do against maybe Center Grove and Los Al, their girl groups, I don't know, but I know that I know that La Femme's got it, so.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to second what Ella said. I'm not really as knowledgeable in the single gender division, but I think talking to my friends who are in La Femme and swings and stuff like that, they really love their show, and they love performing it. So I think they can definitely sneak in there for single gender finals.
Ethan, what do you got?
So my thing on La Femme, yeah, I think they have an amazing Barbie show, and if you've seen the movie Barbie this year, I swear it's like the exact same thing. They follow it to a T, it feels like, with all the crazy Barbie stuff and all that kind of crazy stuff. I'm super excited to see how they do here because they've gone up against some really good competition this year. But of course, this is it. Like if you can place here, you can place almost anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think they have a real good shot at making top 3. That's gonna be a long day because I know they have doubles. So if Sween somehow did make that top 4 spot, that would be a tough day for that's 4 shows in the span of a comp that I don't know that their own students are thinking will go 4 or something. So I'm very excited to see how they do. On the terms of You've Got Mail, I don't think they'll make the top 3 just because there's so many great groups, but they're one of the most you have to watch shows, I believe, at this competition. They have so much fun on stage all the time. It's a bachelorette theme this year. So if you haven't seen it, it's super cool. Amazing job. Yeah, I'm super excited to see how my Mount Zion groups do, and I'm a proud alum for sure already.
Absolutely. So we got one more group to cover, and then Owen and Ella will give their predictions, and we'll get them out of there because goodness knows they need a lot of sleep before this event. And that is Mitchell Friend de Coup. And Ethan, can we get you saying Friend de Coup once?
Friend de Coup, not Coop.
There we go. All right. So we've made progress from the beginning of the season. Go back to Show Choir Nation episode number 5, and you'll see Ethan clap himself for taking.
You timestamp that? You timestamp that?
Just the episode number. I don't think I have the timestamp exactly.
You knew the fact that you knew that on the dot is insane, Will. But go on.
So the moral of the story, kids, is to take French in high school. So Mitchell's coming in here with a 3rd place to start off their season, 2 second places in the month of February, and then their most recent competition is a clean sweep in first place at the Bishop Heelan Show Choir Classic. You know, they went to Lincoln Southwest and they got swept by Lincoln East, which I think raised a couple eyebrows. I think those eyebrows are now thoroughly down because Lincoln East is a program that won 4 competitions this year. They go to Davenport Central, and they did take the best choreography caption off of Johnston, who was virtually unbeatable last year, and besides for Lynn Marr, has also looked virtually unbeatable this year. So I think that FDC is rounding out just into that trademark form that we know and love them for. Owen, I know that you are very in tune with that group. So what is your read on them this year?
Yeah. So obviously they didn't have the start that they wanted, but I got to see a video of their show, and their show is so fun this year. It's definitely one you're not going to want to miss on Saturday. It's about I'm not going to say much, but it's about South Dakota. Their show is South Dakota themed, and they do it. It's such a fun show to watch. And Stephen Todd did a great job with their choreography. They're so clean. Like, you watch them and it's like, wow, how can you be that clean with that many arms? It's just unbelievable. And also they sing just as well as literally everyone in the entire country. Like, that's just the way that it's always been. Even when Mr. Miller was there, they sang really well. And they sort of kept that tradition there. So yeah, they're going to sing with just the best of them. And they have such a fun show. And I know those kids are really proud of their show, and those kids are really excited to come down here. I've talked to a few of them. They're excited. And they leave, I believe, tomorrow morning, and they are actually having a rehearsal the night before the competition somewhere in Wheaton. I don't know what they're going to do. When they came in 2022, they actually practiced at South while the middle school competition was going on, but we have way too many things going on this year. They have to find somewhere else to go, but that's shows the dedication they have to go out there and put a whole rehearsal in the night before a competition. And I'm just going to say it's a show you're not going to want to miss.
Owen,
Absolutely.
their popcorn balls back.
They are. So yeah, 2 years ago they came and they brought popcorn balls from the world's only corn palace. And if you don't know what those are, it's like marshmallow and popcorn put together, and it's like really.
Oh man.
So if you have the chance to get one of those, I don't know if they're just bringing them for Classics and Esprit Kids, but I know they're bringing some. You're gonna want to try some of those. So, yeah.
Awesome. Just real quick, Max Brugeyer has 3 for 4 on Best Soloist Awards this year. Is this a Best Male Soloist pick? It's going to be a very crowded field, but is this as good of a pick as we have?
I listened to the solo. I got to watch it. It's very technically sound. Is how I would say his solo is. Very in tune. He's a great singer. They also have a quartet in their show, and they sing a barbershop quartet. That is also amazing too. So they, like I said, they can sing really well, and I think that he is for sure a best soloist candidate at this competition.
Awesome. Well, we've got 4 mixed finalists, 3 single gender finalists. You guys know the drill. You're not like the Indiana people. We don't got to tell you what's going on. Love them, but they're like, oh, there's always the same number of mixed finals and single gender finalists. Not the case here. So we've got 4 mixed, 3 single gender. Ella, I'll start with you, and then I'll toss it over to Owen. What are your finals picks?
Okay, so for mixed, my finals picks, I'm gonna give it to Sound System at the 1, and then LoSal at 2, and then hot take, I'm putting Mitchell at 3 and Broken Arrow at 4.
So no Zionsville. Interesting.
See, that's what I'm thinking
That
about.
in your single gender
But the
finals.
thing is, though, I don't think there's any hot takes, so you're fine. Don't worry. Don't worry. There's no hot takes here.
And then single gender, I'm gonna give it to Center Grove again. Debtones can sing, and they have a lot going for them. Number 2, soundtracks, LaSalle. And then number 3, I want to put La FM in there. I believe in them, and I think they got a great show, and I think if it's going to be any year, it's going to be this one.
Yeah, for me, I got Center Grove also winning this one. I think it's going to be a caption split at the top for sure. I think that Center Grove's going to take vocals. Whether they get first or second, I think they'll take the vocal caption. Then I have LoSal second with Best Choreo. Third, I have Zionsville, and then fourth, I have to take my hometown kids, Mitchell. And I believe that they're going to come away with best band. Their band is nicknamed Severe Tire Damage, and
I love band names. They're
yeah,
the best. They're the best.
they are just an amazing band. I believe they've only won one time this year, but you can never sleep on their band. They have a great brand program over there. In fact, their band director just won like a national award. So they have a great band over there. So those are my predictions for mixed. As far as unisex, I'm gonna have to go with Debs at 1. And then I'm not really like well versed in the single gender stuff, but I think I'm gonna have to agree with Ella's predictions with sound, and then Lay Femme at 3. I just love Lay Femme's show. I haven't seen it, but I know that the idea behind it just seems amazing, and I think I'm just gonna have to agree with what Ella said there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. I think we had this scheduled for 15 minutes and it wound up going 35 plus. So I thank you guys for sticking it out. We'll let you guys so do some homework and do some sleep before this big weekend. And we can't wait to see you guys this weekend.
Best of luck.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
All right. So thank you everyone for sticking with us for way longer than we were originally anticipating. Ethan and I have got one segment left, and then we will give our predictions, and hopefully we'll get everybody out of here by 30 or 35. And this one segment, this one before we reveal our predictions, we're going to call this one Facts and Figures, because when you have a lineup like this, this is just something that I think coincides very well with the new showchoir.com/stats, which quick plug for showchoir.com. If you have not seen showchoir.com/stats, and you need to figure out how many times Wings by Little Mix was performed in 2014, that's your place to go. Only old people will get that joke, but that's okay. So when we look, we have 15 choirs in the mixed division. Granted, you do have prep groups from Lincoln Southwest and Pleasant Hill in there, so you're looking at 13 top flight programs, and those 13 programs have combined for 16 grand championships so far this year, 15 best vocal awards, and 15 best choreography awards, and 7 best band awards. That is averaging out to more than 1 win per varsity group entered in this division. I mean, when I run our comps of the week, I look and I say, okay, have 3 or 4 of the groups entered even one single competition this year? We have got so many groups that have won competitions so far this year. And then you've got Zionsville, Center Grove, and Broken Arrow all going into this undefeated. Ethan, just words. What do you think?
There's no words. There's literally no words about this whole competition. That's why we had this podcast, and in true fashion of how we think this competition's going, it's gone 30 minutes over. So there are literally no words. I don't know what stats you're going to run by, but if you need me to run by some stats, I can. I'll run a little more facts and figures for you.
Yeah. So the last thing that we want to get to is finals/top 6 streaks. So not every circuit does finals. California doesn't. Some of the Indianapolis choirs doesn't. And so our homeroom show choir staff has gone through and made some of the best finals/top 6 streaks that we have. And so for these streaks, which I don't think any of these streaks are safe. We have groups that all 4 of our guests have predicted in the top 4. I don't think those things are safe. So starting off, we've got Los Alamitos with a 70 competition final/top 6 streak. Last comp they didn't make finals at, Diamond Bar in 2008. That's a competition that no longer exists. Center Grove is the next highest. That's 55 competitions. The last time they missed out on finals or the top 6, the famed National Show Choir Finals in 2013.
Now, I want to say something real quick. The reason why remember, it's finals and top 6 because the last time that they didn't place top 6 was at Fame Nash. It was Fame Finals. So they still made finals, but we're just going to do top 6 for the purpose of this. You can continue.
And then Center Grove at 55, Zionsville right behind them at 54. Zionsville last missed at the Lebanon Show Choir Classic in 2009. Which I think some of the people watching in this chat might not have been born when that happened.
That's scary. Don't say that. That's scary.
Mount Zion, 47 competitions. The last time they missed, Danville in 2017, which is I think I might have fact checked this because I don't know if that number's right.
No, it's
it's right. Okay.
we're talking about how many comps they competed at or the year?
I guess kind of one or the other or both.
Well, I was at Danville 2017. We should have made finals, but that's besides the point. That's besides the point. So it got a little loopy in there, I believe, because they contended so many virtual competitions
Oh, okay.
that one year. So I think we counted those wins in there.
Okay.
I think so. And Mount Zion always runs like 7 comps a year, it seems like, compared to Zionsville, who does like 3 or 4.
It is a lot, yeah. So then after that, we have Lincoln Southwest, 28 streak. Their last competition where they didn't make finals, right here, Wheaton Warrenville South, 2017.
Scary.
Mitchell Frank coming in at a streak of 24. The last time they missed finals, Chatham Glenwood in 2019. Illinois seems to be the finals killer for a lot of these groups. Broken Arrow, 15 competitions. Troy Buchanan in 2019, the last time they missed out on finals. Waubonsie Valley Soundcheck, 9 competitions. The last time they missed. Chesterton in 2022. Pleasant Hill also sitting at 9. And then El Paso Gridley coming off of a miss at Show Choir Nationals last year, sitting at 5. So I'm not even going to do the math if you run all that up. But just know that we have 6 groups over 20, which means that at least 2 of those are going to get snapped. And if Broken Arrow makes finals, that means that 3 of the streaks over 20 are getting snapped. So this is just so out of pocket. The kids love to say that. It's out of pocket. I'll say that this competition is out of pocket. I have no idea if that's the right way to use that or not.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's going to be crazy to see how many people are there. So many people that you've met online or you met over the years of show choir or, show choir celebrities, so you want to call them, or like directors.
Hey, don't get a
just going to come
big
watch.
head. You're not a show choir celebrity.
No, I'm not counting myself. Not at all. But I I probably know for a fact that probably like Dwight Jordan's going to be there because like in his hometown if he's able.
You're going to look around that gym and like every 3 rows, you are going to like look at someone and you're going to say like, oh, bleep, that's that person.
You're going to be with your friend, you're going to be like, wait, is that who I think it is? And then Will's going to get sniped a million times like he does at every competition. You just get sniped. Everyone loves sniping Will. So if you're at the comp, make sure you snipe Will for all the Minnesota and Wisconsin kids.
Oh, my word. Stop that. No. It's the 28th, so we're going to move on to our predictions. This is so far off the rails. We're going to start with the single gender finals. Ethan, do you want to go first or should I go first?
I'll let you go first.
All right, so I consider myself to be a free and independent thinker, except when the Be Real alarm goes off, then I dutifully trot to my phone and I take a Be Real every day. And so my predictions will reflect the fact that I am a free thinker. These predictions will get me clowned on the next episode that we have live. We'll probably do a separate recap episode of this as well. See me clowned in the gym right after prelim awards. I actually won't be there, so joke's on you. In third place, I have Broken Arrow Tiger Mystique. In second place, I have Mount Zion La Femme. And in first place, Vocals Choreo, Center Grove Deb Tones.
It's a pretty good list. It's a pretty good list. I mean, you can't say it's bad a list. Oh man, I just keep staring at it, and we're not even in the mixed. I just keep staring at it. So, oh my gosh, so there's 3. Only 3 can make it. Man, I feel like I want to be different. I want to be different and edgy and be cool and be like, I told you so when it happens. But I don't know if I feel like I should just go with the grain. I think Debtones takes it. I feel like that their sound is going to be crazy in that gym. Insane. I'm telling you, it's going to resonate off the walls. I just don't know much about Zionsville this year. Like I said, I haven't watched any shows. Oh, and I just remembered Los Al's going to be there. Oh my God.
You forgot Los Al was going to be there?
Yes. Well, I was looking at the list and I was like, okay, I think I have an idea of my top 3. And then I was like, okay, so Sal's going to make finals. I think Soundtracks is going to make it. So I have Center Grove into 1. I think Soundtracks is going to land in the 2. And then the 3, which is against Broken Arrow, Mount Zion, and Zionsville, I believe. And, I mean, maybe even El Paso. Oh
All right.
man, just to get the segment over with, I'm gonna go Zionsville. I think Indiana Sound is insane. I feel like Mount Zion might win. They won't because I don't think that's how this competition works. But I think they could win best choreography and not make it.
Uh, Yeah, crazier things have happened. On Alaska 2004, Omaha Westside was ninth in prelims with best choreography. So
Exactly.
they were not even the next group out of finals. They were 3 groups out. All I'm saying is that you better have your mixed predictions signed, sealed, and ready to go, because we are
Yes.
going to match up our placement predictions. We're going to go from the top down, because I almost feel like it's more of a guess to see who's going to make finals than who's going to win the competition.
Oh, for
So,
sure.
Ethan, who do you have winning this competition?
So this competition, I think it's solely going to be on who can sing the best, who can sing it and dance well enough to get them there. I don't know how the score sheets really work, but I know it's rankings. I believe it's rankings prelims. So I'm telling you right now, at prelim, well, I don't know, I could be so wrong. That was so long ago. But if it's rankings prelims, I'm telling you the order of this at going into finals, it might be completely different at the end of the day. Completely different. And that's only with 4 groups. So one, I'm gonna go Center Grove. I'm gonna go Center Grove. And I'm not even gonna talk about it because so many people have talked about it all today. But just for the sake, I'm just gonna go Center Grove.
All right. I have Los Alamitos winning, which seems really weird considering that I didn't put their girls group in finals. But one of the trademarks of a sound effects season is that they get better every week. And nobody really knows what the point margin was. There have been numbers that have been thrown out there by people. Don't know if all the numbers line up, but I will pick sound effects. Is it fair to say that whereas we both have different winners, that each of us has the other group in second place?
Uh, yes, I think it's safe to say. And you know what's funny? It's like what if I feel like what I say is gonna be like the prelims and yours are gonna be like the final result. That's what I feel like is gonna happen.
Together, we're going to make it work. So now the real fun begins. Center Grove and Los Al have consistently been the 2 groups that we talked about the most in terms of winning, and we have them both as our top 2, just in a different order. We're not even going to predict captions. That's
No,
fool's business. So now the real fun starts. Ethan, who is your third place choir at this competition?
I've switched every minute of every second since this list came to me, and I sent it to you, and you put it on here. Shout out Nathan. Nathan, if you're in the stream, thank you for that. Um, I think in third place, I'm gonna give it to I'm gonna give it to Zionsville. I think 2 indie groups are gonna be in the top 3. Um, they're undefeated so far this year. They haven't gone up against Center Grove yet. So yeah, I it's there's so much that's been said. Just go, Will. Who's your 3?
Mitchell Friendicu.
See, this is what I love. This is what I love. So much unknown that it's not wrong, but it feels wrong, but it's not wrong. I love it every second.
And the thing that really sold me on Mitchell Friendicu, I mean, a sweep at Bishop Heelan is fine and whatnot. But when you look, they were originally supposed to be at Vermilion that day, I do believe. The thing that got me more so than the early season struggles that they may have had. I mean, that's early season, and beating Sioux City East is a great accomplishment in and of itself. Taking a caption off of Johnston Innovation is what really sold me. Because people talk about Indianapolis, and we had 2 Indianapolis guys on, and we have nobody from Iowa. Otherwise, I'm sure we would have had somebody from Iowa on. Iowa show choir is just as competitive as Indianapolis show choir, in the fact that Mitchell went not to the close side of Iowa to them, but to the far side of Iowa, went to the Adler Theater in an absolutely cutthroat Davenport Central Great River Show Choir Invitational, and they took best choreography away from Johnston Innovation. That is what sealed the deal for me in their third place spot. We've already spent 10 minutes talking about our predictions. We both got one more spot left.
Oh
Time to
man,
pick a 4.
picking a 4 is harder than picking a winner, which is insane. I wish we had Chris here because then we could talk about maybe why is it 4 groups? Well, I get why because of times and stuff, and you can't have a great competition like this. I don't know if people just gave up their Sundays, maybe. So who do I have? I have Center Grove, Los Al, Zionsville. Oh, I'm gonna go your third place group not making finals. I'm giving it to my Swing Stations. Represent Swing Stations. Dance your butts off. Be different from everyone else, and go get that gold. Go get that gold. Um, they've gone up against some really good groups so far this year, so they've kind of ran a little gauntlet. My whole spiel earlier, and these judges have seen them before. They see Mount Zion all the time. Um, Jeff Demar is their biggest critic because he used to do the group, but he loves swings, and he saw them last week. I don't know how that all placed out, but with this panel and how big this competition is, Swings has been there and done that, and I'm just gonna give it to them. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. They better not prove me wrong, but uh, let's go Swings. Oskiwani.
Well, this is phenomenal because both of us have third and fourth place groups that the other one just has completely on the outside of the mixed finals. And I dropped a hint about who this group would be earlier in the episode. And my fourth place group is Broken Arrow Tiger Rhythm. And if you look at the last time they competed at a really high caliber event, you're like, oh, lost to Cedar Rapids Kennedy. That doesn't look fantastic. That was early season. The results of Ankeny Centennial last year were not indicative of the rest of the season at all. I think this is a Broken Arrow group that has only competed twice this year, so it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes that works against you because you haven't had as many critiques and whatnot. Sometimes it works for you. I mean, some of these groups that are at the end of their seasons, they might be a little bit burnt out. So Broken Arrow, as I said earlier, is the ultimate wild card, and I feel compelled to put them in there at fourth. Now we're gonna dive into the final segment, and this is inexplicably groups that both Ethan and I left out of
We
the
didn't
mixed
even
finals.
mention. We didn't even mention. Not one of us. I mean, we both between us maybe like 6 groups or something like that. We basically had our own finals, but yeah.
So
Continue.
so the groups that neither Ethan nor I put in finals, we have.
They're gonna prove us wrong.
We have Lincoln Southwest, we have Pleasant Hill, we have El Paso Gridley, we have Waubonsee Valley, and neither of us, and that is just crazy. So I mean, with that being said, I mean we've kept you guys for 98 minutes, and so we really appreciate if you stuck around for the whole time. I mean, like you're a real homie. You're an OG day one. I think in the chat we have a couple more winners of this competition. Number one, the winners are also the groups who don't make finals, because then they can just choose to leave finals whenever they want and I don't know, like sleep. That seems like a pretty novel idea. Another winner, allegedly we have in the chat that there will be Celsius for sale at Wheaton Warrenville South.
So smart.
So
oh my gosh.
that is capitalism at its finest, is Wheaton Warrenville South selling Celsius at this competition. I am firmly convinced that when the time jumps ahead at 2:00, we will still be in that gym. So it'll be the first time in my life that I will ever be up for a daylight savings. Regardless, bring your sleeping bags to the Wheaton Warrenville South High School gym. Ethan, you are perhaps going to be there, still up in the air. I will be there for most of prelims and probably the end of finals if they run behind schedule. So if you see us, Nathan Ensley, one of our Indiana folks on earlier, is also going to be there. Of course, Owen and Ella are going to be there. Bradley Davis, Southern Show Choir extraordinaire, the man with two hands, the man with the plan, Mr. Davis feeling funny, is going to be there. We've got the Show Choirs of Texas theme page is going to be there. We've got other members of the Homeroom Show Choir team, Simon, our Ohio guy, Michael, our Iowa guy. So many people are going to be there, and that's not even counting Dwight Jordan, who we referenced earlier. None of us know him. We just promised that he's going to be there. So with that being said, Ethan, any closing thoughts as we cap off this monster session?
Wow. So much was said. So much was said, and we could still maybe talk for like 5 more hours. But
we did not even talk about Los Alamitos soundtracks at all. We just completely skipped over them, which is a crime.
It's all like,
but
we should have done this.
This is a criminal out of pocket event that we will probably spend our entire next Tuesday evening discussing. So
yeah, we might need a whole show recap. But I will say the true winner is Show Choir. This is an amazing event for us for people who are observers now, for the people who are performing on that stage and get to share the stage with all these amazing groups. It's amazing. To anyone that's going to be there, please say hi to the whole homeroom crew. You'll probably see us all together at one point. Literally everywhere you look, you'll see one of us, and you can't miss Will. You can't miss Will with the hair, and you know he'll be wearing a blazer. So please take good pictures of him there. If I'm not there, if this basketball team goes to the championship or not, depends. We'll see. I really want to be there. This is something I don't want to miss. It's once in a lifetime, especially in my own state. Final closing statement. Good luck, judges, and let's have a great show choir Saturday. Well, and Sunday. Let's have a great show choir weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we will see some of you at the Choral Classic, hopefully, and the rest of you for Show Choir Nation on Monday evening. Have a great night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.